This is the Policy Review Committee meeting on Monday, September 24th at 6:12 p.m. We have all members in attendance with the exception of Mr. Miller. And we have Mr. Hurley here, and I'm pretty sure the guy over there is leaving any second. Yes. All right. Old business, first two items. One, we're going to be reviewing tonight in executive session, the sick leave.
Okay.
And then the one was put on hold until Mr. Subers has reviewed.
Is that compensated professional leaves?
Yeah, the compensated professional leaves.
Okay.
Is that, now, it's back in the old business folder, which leads me to believe that he's reviewed it. But I don't see any, it's not in the legal review folder, so I don't.
Yeah,
Do you have-
policy 338 and I think 338.1 go together. So Subers has that, and that particular one, he'll review those two for us.
Okay,
The more recent
so
ones.
it's basically by proxy, it's in review because the first
other two,
part of it
we
is
just
in
asked
review.
for clarification from
All
him.
right.
So he has that one. That's more recent. The other ones, he has policy 324 and 333. He has reviewed those. The ones that
Oh, yeah, it says 338. I did, all right, on the agenda, it says 338. Okay. All right, and then we still have in legal review, a couple of these are from May. Is that, I mean,
I have the legal review for that, and
324 and
we
333?
didn't get to that last time, and so I have them.
Okay, I have the documentation here. Let me. Sorry to skip. I skipped to that legal stuff since we were on the
Yeah,
topic.
it's good to get some of them off.
Yeah. All right. So here's 338. So I'm gonna put 3381 with that since it's technically under review as well. And then.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, can I ask a procedural question? In the legal review file electronically, does that mean he has reviewed it and it's available for
Well,
us to bring to the group?
Yeah, usually if it's in the legal file, that means it's currently being reviewed.
Okay.
And when she puts it in the old business, that typically means that it's
That
done.
he's done, okay.
But because 338 was really the precursor to 3381, they're together. So I just put them both in the legal file, so
That's fine.
it's fine. But Rob, you said 324, 333?
Yeah. Policy 324, Subers doesn't have any recommended changes. He recommends as is.
Okay.
For policy 324, that's dealing with personnel files. So that one's done, and we can move that one forward.
Does anybody have an extra pen? I had one in my pocket, but I lost it. There's usually a box on the back here. Thank you. All right, so then 324 is good as is per Mr. Subers?
Yep.
All right, move to first reading. All right, cool. And then 333?
For the induction for long-term subs, there is a requirement there. So let me just kind of read through what you have here. Obviously, we're required to do an induction for first-year teachers, and long-term subs are hired 45 days or more. We're also required to do an induction plan for them.
Is this, are we on the same one? 'Cause
Policy 333.
333 is personal development?
Professional development, induction was part of that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the part that was under question in regards to that particular piece.
Is there a specific section that we're going to be addressing? Under the induction plan, is it any changes to that or the program?
Yeah, we're actually, for the sake of policy, what it does do, I mean, does it address, and you can take a look at that policy there, basically, there needs to be an induction for first-year teachers, and long-term subs are hired for 45 days or more. Are those two things incorporated in the way it's written?
Yeah, it says the district shall comply with Department of Education requirements when developing and maintaining an induction plan for the first-year teachers or long-term substitutes hired for a position for 45 days or more, educational specialists and teachers new to the district.
Yeah, and it says PD approval of the plan, and so I can tell you, actually, Michelle's doing some, Michelle did her dissertation on induction and mentor programs, and she's actually doing work on that for us, and has redesigned our program for us, and we will submit that to the Pennsylvania Department of Education when that's done. So, but in terms of policy, that's correct then.
So then what we have is
That is
sufficient.
correct for policy
Okay.
purposes.
So he was focused on that, basically, that covering, that make sure the language was covered in that first
Yes.
paragraph.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're in good shape there then if it reads that. So we can cross that one off.
Okay. Awesome.
And Jeff, if you want to see that, this is correspondence.
Yeah, I'll just put it in here
Just-
as a backup. Alrighty. And that goes there. There's old business. Okay, so we have one in legal review still, well, two technically.
And Jeff, I brought up copies of policy 300 for exec session, or the sick leave and 334.
Yeah, I have it as well.
Okay, I brought a bunch of copies.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, so 3-3. All right, we can move on to new business. All right, first one, 006, local board procedures. This is one, what's interesting is the stuff that's in here, I didn't realize that was a change. You know, it's kind of, I thought it was just the way it was. Do you know if we do calendar year versus fiscal year, Rob?
In what way?
Under notice?
Yeah,
We have to-
unfortunately, my policy isn't loaded right now. It's crashing.
Oh, all right, so it says,
Mine is
notice of regular meetings shall be given by publication and posting of the schedule showing the date, place, and time of all regular meetings for the calendar year or fiscal year at least 3 days prior to the time of the first regular meeting.
I believe it's calendar year.
But we never post, do we post the schedule, the whole schedule early? Because I thought
No.
we only put the meetings up as we schedule.
It's posted on our website early, like, because we approve it at the beginning of the school year, for the following year. So but I don't know if we put the notice, I don't know if we put an annual notice in the paper. I don't know, or if we do a monthly notice in the paper.
I guess we just put it on our website.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, it just
And
says
you know,
publication and posting, so I'm assuming website would
I
suffice.
mean, it makes sense because if, like, new board members come on board, they're coming on board in the beginning of December, right? Because the election occurs in November, so to, like, agree on dates with the board that you're gonna have for the whole year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really isn't anything, this one's kind of, it seems to me like it's just the stuff we always do. Like, I didn't think anything was, so I guess it's calendar year or fiscal year. It's like fiscal year being school year.
Yeah, so it's a calendar year as opposed to fiscal year.
Like, we don't have them running into 2019 yet.
It would definitely be.
It's calendar.
Calendar year.
It's calendar, pretty sure.
July 1st.
And
Alright.
for some reason, my policy is not loading either, so
Alright.
it's not just,
No,
all right.
maybe because it's 175 pages long.
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
board procedures, super fun. So we do, the superintendent, for building the agenda is, we use the board and the president to do, along with the superintendent. Let's see, the other, if agenda includes an item of business related to removal of an officer of the board, the agenda shall be provided to each school director at least 7 days before the meeting.
Does it say, I'm sorry, I can't open it on electronically. Does it say how that is supposed to be delivered?
It doesn't say how it's supposed to be delivered.
Okay, so it can be electronic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it also just talks about changes to the agenda, like
Yeah.
they have, a school board director or superintendent must be approved by the majority vote of the school directors present. So I guess if, we'd never vote on it, but if anyone opposed
Yeah.
an edit,
You could then vote
we
on
could
it, I guess.
vote on it. An order of business for regular meeting shall be as follows unless altered by the president or a majority of those present and voting. There's 2 blank lines here, as if we were supposed to fill something in, but it says the order of business for regular meetings shall be as follows.
Why don't you say as determined by board president and superintendent?
I mean, it just seems bizarre. It's,
Just pencil, I mean, that's kind of, we don't need to regulate that.
I don't even think we need that.
I
I
don't think so
feel like we
either.
should strike that.
It's silly. It's overregulation.
All right. Public participation. Yep, we do that. Public participation is basically saying that before the meeting, the board shall afford the public an opportunity to provide comments. This is all vote motions, resolutions shall be by voice vote unless an oral roll call vote is requested. So we do that. So then it updates, it has updated here, any actions requiring a unanimous vote. Like, I feel like this is the stuff that Brian always corrects us on. When Brian's here, we're like, hey, can we, how do we have to do this? Do we have to do roll calls? Do we have to?
Yeah.
That is what basically the bulk of this is. It's all the items that require specific voting, 2/3, full required, full membership, and it just lists all the different things. So, I have no idea if that's, I would assume that that's something that Brian should be able to tell us if that's,
So we bring our solicitor to our meetings.
yeah.
Not every district does that, so we do.
No, but I'm saying, should we assume that everything in here is
Yeah.
good to go?
I think we're
All right, you don't feel like we need to let Brian look at this?
I think we're okay with it.
Okay. That's basically the bulk of the change is just, and it doesn't look like a change, it looks like an add. Special voting requirements is a big section that was added. It talks about which ones need a full or a partial, at least 2/3. So, appointment of a board secretary or former school director who has resigned before expiration of the term for which a director was elected. Appoint as solicitor a former school director who has resigned before expiration of the term which a director has been elected. 2/3 of the membership actions requiring 2/3 vote, transferring during the first 3 months of the fiscal year budgeted funds set apart or appropriated to particular item of expenditure, adding or increasing appropriations to meet an emergency or catastrophe, hiring as a teacher a former school director who has resigned before the expiration of the term for which the director was elected, conveying land or buildings to certain charities or other public agencies without the following prescribed valuation procedures with more favorable financing.
Almost all that stuff that you're talking about is, it's in like the law as
Yeah.
well. If you look at other school boards, that all those things that you're talking about, they show up in that. same-
Every one of them is supported by
it's
a law, a legal attachment that.
I'm not, I'm just saying that, as long-winded as it is, I think a lot of it just has to stay away from.
All right, so are we comfortable then with it as is? I'm going to move to first reading. Everybody okay? That's a yes from everyone?
Yes.
Yeah,
An
I-
audible yes.
All right. Adoption of textbooks. So this was an existing policy that was updated. And let me know if you have your stuff back online. It's 108, policy 108.
I think that the problem with the first one was that it was just too long, because this one popped up right away.
Okay. Yeah, this is, all we did here was add in print or digital format, basically, is how we're defining textbooks. And then it also adds that this delegation of responsibilities is also the superintendent, after consultation with administration and professional staff, shall be responsible for the selection of recommended textbooks. Then it says the superintendent or designee shall establish administrative regulations for reviewing, evaluating, and selecting textbooks.
Yeah.
Who does that?
We already have the AGs on that.
No, but who does it?
In terms of, if it's a math, we have the math department chair or the math department work with us, the administrative team, in terms of selecting the books.
Okay.
So we work together with the teachers, then we bring it forward for approval. So the most recent, I guess, was probably the science stuff, some of the AP courses.
All right, are we good with this? Any concerns?
No concerns.
All right. So I had an attachment to this one. 1 second.
Are we on 210.1?
Yeah, 210.1, possession, administration of asthma inhalers, epinephrine, auto-injectors. It says refer to May 2018 PNN, which I have here. Is that Policy News Network? Interesting. All right. So this is basically, I mean, this was an existing policy, but it's been really, really overhauled. So who decides if who's responsible for acquiring, stocking, and administration of epinephrine auto-injectors, and
Our nurses have it.
so we have the nurses? Okay. And do we have a school physician officially?
Like, there's not a doctor that we have on staff.
Yeah, we don't have on staff, but do we have one that's like,
There's a thing, technically our nurses can consult with a physician in regards to certain topics, so.
We have a school physician and a school dentist
Yeah,
of
Napolitano,
record.
yeah, on
Right,
record.
they're a local.
Yeah, with Napolitano.
Aren't they the ones that are responsible for the
And
physicals?
Yeah,
Yeah, Napolitano's one of them, is
And then-
what,
and we-
Dennis is new, I think.
we can conference with them if something immediate happens. And
Yeah.
that, I think that's what
That might be,
means.
that might be what they're referring to there.
Because I think we vote on the person of record like close to the beginning of the school year every year.
now there's one provision here that says the building principal shall annually notify parents of their right to opt out of the provisions of this policy related to the administration of a stock epinephrine auto-injector. To opt out, a parent shall sign and return a district exemption form to the school nurse. The signed out form shall be maintained by the school nurse, and the school nurse shall provide trained school employees with the names of the students and parents who have opted out. So if they opt out, that means we're not allowed to administer any of those things.
Yeah, at the beginning of the school year, when they send all that paperwork home, depending on what grade level you're at, you get like a list of, it's okay for my kid to have ibuprofen, it's okay for my kid to
Yeah.
get Benadryl, and it'll go in that list of, it'll go in that list of.
So do we give the parents an opt out option?
I believe we're required.
On
to.
all of those things.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe we're required. to.
Okay. For kids to self-administer them, it says we're able to allow students to have them on their person.
If you have kids and they with severe allergies and they are capable of doing that, then that is allowed.
Okay. It says here that we have to have a written acknowledgement from the school nurse that the student has demonstrated that they're capable, not just a note from the parent.
Yeah, probably, or a doctor.
That was a new ad. Is that?
I have to check. I have to check with the nurse.
Yeah, I
And
guess that's part of not just taking a parent's.
Yeah, and the other
word
one,
that they know what
and
they're doing.
the second one is we have to have written acknowledgement from the student that
Yeah.
they've received instruction from a physician or certified registered nurse, et cetera, that for the handling and disposal of an inhaler, injector, et cetera.
How about, I'm going to send this off to my nurses right now, and let me have them review this, if you guys are okay.
Yeah,
We table
that's
this to
fine.
The next one, are you guys okay with that? Just in
Yeah.
abundance of caution?
Yeah.
Yep.
And were you at the transportation meeting?
No, I was
No.
not there for that one.
Sorry.
Because something similar came up about something happening on the bus. And that's interesting that I think, we consult with the school nurse concerning disposal of items.
Reviewed by school nurses. Yeah, everything else seems pretty standard, but I thought it was the whole written acknowledgement, but then from the nurse and from the student, I gotta.
Just today in my school, I had to sign off after I showed her that I can do it. Like, it's probably something very similar. You demonstrate the fact how to do it, and then you just sign your initials.
But how does the kid demonstrate it for the nurse? How would they
You
know?
have they have practice
they have
ones
practice
in the nurse's
ones?
office. They have like dummies.
Oh, really?
They're called dummies, and you have to like jam it in your leg.
Interesting. All right. Who
I think
knew?
we're best just talking to them a little bit.
Yep.
Make sure we're not tripping over
All right. 246, school wellness.
Just didn't.
There was already, we had just sent this to first reading, and then they sent us another update. 231. Where's 231 here? Oh, it's not on the list. 231.
Is there any changes?
No, there's no changes whatsoever. 231. Social events and class trips.
I nixed that from the agenda. We did an AG, an administrative guideline. We were going to, originally when I put that on, it was because of the assembly stuff. And originally we were going to create a policy, and we were going to try to squeeze it in there, but then we did the AG.
Okay, so I'll just.
Yeah.
All right. 246 is the school wellness, and we just sent it to first reading. It's already been through, and now there's a new revision. So, I have the hard copy that was updated with the edits made. And one, it changed the name of our school district to Daniel Boone Area School District. And then the rest, there was a ton of stuff crossed out and checked out. So, I mean, I don't want to go through all of this with everybody, but it was essentially a ton of, I guess, options were crossed out, and she had checked all the boxes that we were supposed to check. I'm not sure who gave her direction on that. Have you seen this?
Which one? Hold on.
246. That's the hard copy she said she updated.
This is the wellness policy we did last time.
Yeah.
What I probably did is I probably gave her mine. I said, use these. That's what I'm guessing. Use the, check marks that we had here. Yes.
I mean, it looks like she just crossed off everything that wasn't checked.
Yeah, I think that's what she did, yeah. Just look at this, how they formatted it, but it was consistent with what we had. But Jeff, what I think I did is I handed her this, what we worked from last time, I said, Kathy, update this.
Yeah, that's the original that you have. I can see my handwriting notes on it.
Yeah, and I said, here, update this one.
So she printed out a hard copy of that with those updates, I'm
With
assuming.
this, yeah, is what she did here with this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So then-
what my recollection of that.
All
is.
right.
That's about a month ago.
So basically, she updated a hard copy and included it in my packet with all the edits that were made for the first reading. So it looks like, I guess, you went through it with her, or you gave her the
I
update?
gave her, I think I gave her either, it was your packet or this packet she was working from.
Yep.
I'm not sure which one she was working from, but they should have been the same anyway.
Okay.
And I will check, we'll double check that to make sure, Jeff. I'll just make sure it was done.
All right, so we have to move this, we have to go to first reading again on this.
I was laughing, we just got it through and then they.
Yeah, she told me about that the other day when I was over there. All right, reduction of staff. Policy 311. So this is an active policy and it's been updated. Now, it looks like the only section that was updated was the seniority piece. Everything else remained the same. Now that doesn't mean we couldn't change something, it just means that that's all PSBA recommended. So I'll just read this since this is what was changed. Under seniority, and this is under the section order of suspensions. When the number of professional employees within each certification area receiving the same performance rating is greater than the number of suspensions, professional employees with the least seniority within each certification area shall be suspended before employees with the greater seniority having the same performance rating. In addition, professional employees shall be realigned to ensure that employees with more seniority have the opportunity to fill other positions within the district for which they are certified and which are currently filled by less senior employees with the same or lower overall performance rating.
You see the typo in there? Certificated should be certified.
Ah, look at you.
It said at the beginning that this is just to be in line with, Act 55?
Yeah.
And Act 39, so
That's the only change. Any concern with that language? People?
No.
No,
No? It's a no. All right, move this first reading. All right, here's a new policy, responsibility for student welfare. So, I mean, Rob, the way I look at this one is like, it's like coverage responsibilities essentially, like when they're not in class, here's all the things we're required.
Basically, you're in charge, the teacher's in charge of the kids, they don't leave the kids unsupervised.
Yeah.
Is really the gist of that. There's some other pieces to it, but that's the essence.
Yeah, I mean, it talks about, you know, bus halls, restrooms, playground, cafeteria, before and after school field trips and school activities.
it says here that this is a new policy. Did some of this stuff used to get covered under a different policy? Some of it seems like it's stuff that, especially like, you know, building principals shall develop and implement plans of supervision for arrival, departure, cafeteria, before and after school field trips. I mean, that feels
It's
like
also
something
called
that always
common
already
sense.
should be
Yeah,
there.
and we already
Right.
are doing
Well,
this.
except
It's not
that
a
it says-
policy. It's not happening.
I just didn't know if this is going to overlap with a policy we already have.
Well, it just says that the principals are annually developing a plan.
Yeah, it's a little bit more specific.
It feels a little bit more official. I mean,
More
do we do that?
A little bit more
Of
rigorous.
course, they know exactly where they're.
Well, but I'm
Unless-
talking
I mean,
about
unless
like the before and after school activities, field trips. Like, I mean, I don't know what.
When I hear annually developed, I kind of think that it's going to get developed. And then
Yeah, it's-
annually it will get looked at to see if it's
Confused.
is it adequate.
It's going to get
And then if
developed
it's-
as it
it's
is,
fine, it's fine.
as it happens. All right.
That's kind of like principle number one is.
Yeah.
We okay with moving it to first read?
Okay.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Also a new policy, the next three are actually new, benefits for part-time employees. Yeah, this is a bizarre one because it's, I mean, it just basically says it just basically defines that eligibility for part-time employees is at 500 hours or 80 days of employment. So we're required by law to provide benefits if you work that much time.
Do we already do that?
I mean, I know we have drivers that work part-time and I think they're 90 hours a year.
I'm shooting from the hip, advice on this, but what I recall is like, if they're under 5 hours a day, then they're considered part-time, that they don't get benefits. That's what I recall.
Well, this would tell you that if it's 500 hours or 80 days. So theoretically, if they work 5 hours a day for more than 100 days, they'd be eligible by law, according to this.
That's by law, is there?
In accordance with
I'm
law.
looking up the law right now, but it is annotated with a 20 PA CSA. I think that's a regulation. No, well, it's still required, but
Well, the only part of this, it's even, you know, relevant is the hours. Everything else
Yep.
is kind of,
That's the only thing that's spelled out really specifically, right?
What we should do is we should look at this versus our current practice and then get back to you.
yeah,
This
I
is,
mean,
yeah.
I feel like we're not
Regulate.
necessarily following that
I don't
to the
know.
letter.
And again, I'm shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
The business office is definitely the people to talk to, so let me reach out to them on this.
All right, so who's reviewing this?
I'm going to first go to the business office to see what their current practice of that is. Because I'm clearly shooting from the hip on it. To see if this is consistent with it.
Well, 5 hours or less would make sense, but if they're working, again, this says upon reaching 500 hours or 80 days. So if you work 5 hours a day for 100 days, according to this, you're eligible.
Then I also think we should run that by super. So
Yeah.
also, I mean, this is clearly
I completely agree.
because
I mean, just because it's... All right.
So is it 80 days or 500 hours?
Yeah,
Or
I
whichever
mean,
comes first? You know what I mean? Like,
well, no, it's either 500 hours or 80 days of employment. Which I don't know how you define a day. Like, is that a full time, a full day? You know what I mean?
no, it's probably a calendar day.
Like, if you show up at all for 80 days,
Right.
you're.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, let's just say you work 7 hours a day, it'd be 500.
Yeah, it's a regulation required under Title 24. Mandatory membership in the system shall be mandatory as of the effective date of the employment for all school employees except for the following, and one of the ones that's listed is any school employee who is not a member of the system and who is employed on a per diem or hourly basis for less than 80 full day sessions or 500 hours. So that means anybody who is above those has to be invited into the system by the state.
According to that, right.
So that would be a 6.5-hour day.
Yeah.
Jury duty, pretty standard.
Turn over your $11.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
The state makes you do that too, so.
It's ridiculous.
It really is.
I mean,
It's more work.
can't even believe
It probably costs us more to
to collect
To
it.
deal with it
To deal with
than
it,
to just
to
let
deal
them
with
keep the
receiving
$11
check
bucks.
and getting it sent
Yep.
out
That's
again.
bureaucracy at its best. Paid holidays. It just says paid holidays will be determined in accordance with board policy. And it's contractually, it's determined contractually through collective bargaining. So, I mean, I don't know that we need to. I'm going to move that one on. And then
ID cards.
ID cards.
Looks like one change. I don't know what it said before. Replacement card cost, was there a set cost in line?
Apparently.
there used to be, we have different cards now.
Yeah,
It used to
and
be
so it's like at the
$6.
established
Yeah,
rate now.
yeah.
And how much are they now?
It used to be $6, but now like, we have these different cards that the staff have, so I have no idea what they.
Ours are 20.
Yeah,
I'm
mine's
sure
20,
they're more
mine's
expensive
25 if I
because
was there, yeah.
It does more things than
But if you add up all my keys, it's actually
Ask me how
$95.
I know how much
I don't have
it
to pay.
costs
If I lose
do
mine,
it.
I don't have to pay anything. Such huge,
Must be nice.
huge benefit.
That's huge. I lose mine a lot.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
It's a bigger benefit.
I may
for
have,
those of
I
us
may have
who are
lost
kind
mine.
of
I may have lost mine. a couple times.
Absent-minded. Or I just sent out
All
an
right.
email. Anybody found my keys?
Look at this, guys. We're going to finish early. Unbelievable. Last one, 808, food services. This is an updated policy. And where am I here? I have a PNN on this one too. No, that's not it. It's not on here. It says it was on here. Refer to August 28th PNN. Oh, there's more than one. Okay, sorry. I have another one. I didn't realize I had two. Give me a moment.
Is this right, is this right, like the actual policy is only 3 pages and like all the annotated documentation for it is like another 100 and some odd pages?
Yeah, it's all the
All right.
regulatories.
Okay.
So who's responsible for the food service? Is that the business manager? Do we use USDA foods for school menus? Under the Child Nutrition USDA Foods program?
Positive you have to.
I would assume.
Nutrition group can get away with that.
There's a thing, an ad on here about, low balances on your food. What do they call that? Their account?
Lunch prepay?
Yeah, like if you have zero in your account, they give you lunch anyway and basically put you in the negative. So if you have zero or a balance that you owed.
Is that basically how they deal with that at this point, Rob?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Yeah,
How they deal with it when lunch accounts go negative?
I think what they do is they say, we used to, like, we send like voice blasts, to the parents' phone, and Alonzo does that.
And if it takes a day or two for the parent to resolve
They
the
feed
balance,
them.
They give them like
Oh, yeah,
basic
we're
lunch
required-
pay.
They
for-
have to.
We're required now to give them regular lunches.
I see.
Like,
No,
used-
no, I.
You used to be able to give them a cheese sandwich, now you can't do
No,
it
but
anymore.
when I say basic, I just mean no extra
sandwich.
treats that they're allowed to add on.
Yeah, the new law that was passed.
well, but kids learn that they can basically go on credit and they just start buying stuff. And then the parents get a note that says, I know this
My kid
because
owed
my
$94 at the other
kids
year.
pulled that over the years.
Mine is
They're like, you owe $23. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You take,
94.
oh my gosh.
I think she was
Well, this
buying
one, this
around.
is specific to high school students. It says we can contact the student directly.
Okay. Oh, high
No.
school only.
Grades 9 to 12. I mean, they're the ones who racked up the bill. I can't imagine they're going to pay it.
Oh, I've had my kids come and say, hey, they whispered in my ear that, you're not doing your job, Mom. And which I'm fine with, So then I pay it.
Wow.
It is what it is.
Good to know.
I would not be fine with that.
No, my daughter was.
It also
at the
says we
last
can
week, and I
contact
don't
the
wanna
parent,
say
but
that-
What?
I don't want to say that
All right.
the lunch staff didn't say that. My daughter was at the toilet.
are we good with this one?
Sure.
Yep. Is that the last one?
That is it. Meeting adjourned.
God.